name of the Lord. There are three stages of development: the offensive stage, the clearing stage, and the transcendental stage. Srila Prabhupada describes these in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. In the offensive stage, one may desire all kinds of material happiness, but in the second stage, one becomes clear of all material contaminations. When one is situated on the transcendental stage, he attains the most coveted position, the stage of loving God. Lord Chaitanya taught that this is the highest stage of perfection of human beings. Japa Reform Notebook concerns a devotee struggle to free himself from offensive chanting. A critic may question the benefit of hearing from a neophyte who can describe only his own experience in trying to surmount the lower stage of chanting. But I am not alone in earnestly endeavoring to free myself from the unwanted habits described in this book. Advice on how to make genuine advancement in attentive chanting and in appreciation of the holy name will be relevant for many. The Krishna consciousness movement is expanding throughout the world, and every day more people are adopting the chanting of Hare Krishna. Everyone should be eager to root out bad habits from the start. Lord Chaitanya and his immediate followers, as well as our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, have already fully described the chanting of the holy name in pure love of God. Their statement and books will always remain as beacons to guide us to the ultimate goal. Reading their realized statements and witnessing the potency of Srila Prabhupada's pure chanting, we are confident in the existence of the highest stage of chanting in pure love of God. We are also convinced that chanting Hare Krishna, even in the beginning stage, is itself the means to attain pure chanting. The instructions. Mataji, should I continue?
You can explain this till this.
Okay, so here it is explained that Srila Prabhupada has given us this transcendental stage of chanting. So there are three types of chanting, and for now, I don't know about you all. I am at the stage of offensive chanting. So if we try, so slowly we can come to the stage of transcendental chanting. So where whatever the name we are taking, that is Shuddha Nam. And Sripad Ayendra Prabhu says, without taking Shuddha Nam, one cannot attain Bhav Bhakti. So there are different stages on the path of bhakti. So first is offensive stage. So as we improve our chanting, then we keep on making advancement on the path of bhakti. So here it is explained that this book will help us to get free from offensive chanting. So that is what I can say. Mataji, you can add whatever you want.
Okay, thank you so much, Mataji. Now we'll read our On the Way to Krishna book. Yes, 2 minutes. जो read कर सकते हैं वो hand raise कर सकते हैं. I'll put the order of reading. Okay. On the Way to Krishna was prepared from the transcript of lectures Srila Prabhupada gave in New York in the fall of 1966 on the Bhagavad Gita. The editor was Srila Prabhupada's disciple, Hayagriva Das, Howard Wheeler, M.A. Harshita Mataji, you can read.
Hare Krishna. Through way to happiness. Every one of us is searching after happiness, but we do not know what real happiness is. We see so much advertised about happiness, but practically speaking, we see so few people, happy people. This is because so few people know that the platform of real happiness is beyond temporary things. It is this real happiness that is described in the Bhagavad Gita by Lord Krishna to Arjuna. Happiness is generally perceived through our senses. A stone, for instance, has no senses and cannot perceive happiness and distress. Developed conscious can perceive happiness and distress more intensely than undeveloped consciousness. Trees have consciousness, but it is not developed. Trees may stand for a long time in all kinds of weather, but they have no way of perceiving miseries. If a human being were asked to stand like a tree for only 3 days or even less, he would not be able to tolerate it. The conclusion is that every living being feels happiness or distress according to the degree of development of his consciousness. The happiness that we are experiencing in the material world is not real happiness. If one asks a tree, "Are you feeling happy?" the tree, if it could say, might say, "Yes, I'm happy standing here all here. I'm enjoying the wind and snowfall very much," etc. This may be enjoyed by the tree, but for the human beings, it is a very low standard of enjoyment. There are different kinds and grades of living entities, and their conceptions and perceptions of happiness are all also of all different types and grades. Although one animal may see that the other animal is being slaughtered, he will go right on chewing grass, for he has no knowledge to understand that he may be next. He is thinking that he is happy, but at the next moment he may be slaughtered. In this way, there are different degrees of happiness, yet of all of them, what is the highest happiness? Sri Krishna tells Arjuna, Sukham Sukham atyantikam yattad buddhigraham atandriyam veti yatra na chaitanyam titas chalati tatutah. In that joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness, realized through transcendental senses, established thus, one never departs from the truth. Stated in Gita, verse chapter 6, verse 21.
Okay, Muskan Mataji, you can read next.
Buddhi means intelligence. One has to be intelligent if he wants to enjoy. Animals do not have really developed intelligence and so cannot enjoy life as a human being can. The hands, the nose, the eyes, the other sense organs, and all the bodily parts may be present on a dead man, but he cannot enjoy. Why not? The enjoying energy, the spiritual spark has left, and therefore the body has no power. If one looks further into the matter with a little intelligence, he can understand that if it was not the body that was enjoying at all, but the small spiritual spark that was within. Although one may think that he is enjoying by the bodily sense organs, the real enjoyer is that spiritual spark. That spark always has the potency of enjoyment, but it is not always manifest. It does not, but it is not always manifest due to being covered by the material tabernacle. Although we may not be aware of it, it is not possible for the body to experience enjoyment without the presence of this spiritual spark. If a man is offered the dead body of a beautiful woman, will he accept it? No, because the spiritual spark has moved out of the body. Not only was it enjoying within the body, but it was maintaining the body. When that spark leaves, the body simply deteriorates. It follows that if the spirit is enjoying, it must have its senses also. Otherwise, how can it enjoy? The Vedas confirm that the spirit soul, although atomic in size, is the actual enjoying agent. It is not possible to measure the soul, but that is not to say that it is without measurement. An object may seem to us to be no bigger than a point, and may seem to have no length or width, but when we perceive it under a microscope, we can see that it has both length and width. Similarly, the soul has it also has its dimensions, but we cannot perceive them. When we buy a suit or dress, it is made to fit the body. The spiritual spark must have form, otherwise how How is it the material body has grown to accommodate it? The conclusion is that the spiritual spark is not impersonal, it is an actual person. God is an actual person, and the spiritual spark, being a fragmental part of him, is also a person. If the Father has personality and individuality, the Son also has them. And if the Son has them, we can conclude that the Father has them. So, how can we, as sons of God, assert our personality and individuality and at the same time deny them to our father, uh, deny them to our father, the supreme lord?
Vanshika.
Atindriya means that we have to transcend these material senses before we can appreciate real happiness. Ramante yogino sante satyana chit atmani. The yogis who are aspiring after a spiritual life are also tasting enjoyment by focusing on the super soul within. If there is no pleasure, if there is no enjoyment, then what is the point of going through so much trouble to control the senses? What kind of pleasure are the yogis relishing if they are taking so much trouble? The pleasure is ananta, endless. How it is? How is this? The spirit soul enters, and the Supreme Lord is eternal. Therefore, reciprocation of their loving exchanges is eternal. One who is actually intelligent will refrain from flickering sensual enjoyment of this material body and fix his enjoyment in spiritual life. His participation in spiritual life with the Supreme Lord is called the Rasa Leela. We have often heard of Krishna's Rasalila with the cowherd girls in Vrindavan. This is not like ordinary exchanges that take place between these material bodies. Rather, it is an exchange of feelings through spiritual bodies. One has to be somewhat intelligent to understand this. For a foolish man who cannot understand what real happiness is, seeks happiness in this material world. In India, there is a story of a man who did not know that what sugarcane and sorry, what was sugarcane and what was told that it was very good, sweet to chew. Oh, what does it look like? He asked. It looks like just a bamboo rod, someone said. So the foolish man began to chew all kinds of bamboo rods. How can he begin to experience the sweetness of sugarcane? Similarly, we are trying to get happiness and pleasure, but we are trying for them by chewing this material body. Therefore, no, there is no happiness and no pleasure. For the time being, there may be some little feelings of pleasure, but that is not actual pleasure, for it is temporary. It is like a show of lightning which we may see flashing in the sky that may momentarily seem like lightning, but the real lightning is beyond that. Because a person does not really know that what happiness is, he deviates from real happiness.
Mohita Mataji.
The process for establishing oneself in the real happiness is the process of Krishna consciousness. By Krishna consciousness, we can gradually develop our real intelligence and naturally enjoy relishing spiritual happiness as we make spiritual progress. As we begin to relish spiritual happiness, we proportionately abandon material happiness. As we make progress in understanding the absolute truth, we naturally become detached from this false happiness. If somehow or other one is promoted to the stage of Krishna consciousness, what is the result? Yam labdhava cha chaparam labham manyate nadhikam tatah yasmin sthito na dukhena gurunapi vichalyate. Upon gaining upon gaining this, he thinks that there is no greater gain. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken, even in the midst of greatest difficulty. Gita 6.22. When one attains that stage, other achievements appears insignificant. In this material world, we are trying to achieve so many things: riches, women, fame, beauty, knowledge, etc. But as soon as we are situated in Krishna consciousness, we think, oh no, achievement is better than this. Krishna consciousness is so potent that a little taste can save one from the greatest danger. As one begins to relish the taste of Krishna consciousness, he begins to see other so-called enjoyments and attainments as flat and tasteless. As one is situated firmly in Krishna consciousness, the greatest danger cannot disturb him. There are so many dangers in life because the material world is a place of danger. We tend to close our eyes to this, and because we are foolish, we try to adjust to these dangers. We may have many dangerous movements in the life, but if we are training ourselves in Krishna consciousness and preparing ourselves to go home back to Godhead, we will not we will not care for them. Our attitude will then be dangers come and go. So let them happen. It is very difficult to make this kind of adjustment as long as one is on materialistic platform and is identifying with the gross body, which is composed of perishable elements. But the more one advances in Krishna consciousness, the more he becomes free from bodily designations and this material entanglement.
In Srimad Bhagavatam, the material world is compared to a great ocean. Within this material universe, there are millions and billions of planets floating in space, and we can just imagine how many Atlantic and Pacific oceans are there. In fact, the whole material universe is likened to a great ocean of misery, an ocean of birth and death. In order to cross this great ocean of nuisance, a strong boat is needed, and that strong boat is the lotus feet of Krishna. We should immediately get aboard that boat. We should not hesitate, thinking that Krishna's feet are very small. The whole universe is simply resting on his leg. For one who takes shelter of his feet, it is said that the material universe is no more significant than a puddle of water found in the impression of a calf's hoof print. There is certainly no difficulty in crossing over such a small puddle. This indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact. We are entangled in this material world due to uncontrolled senses. The yoga process is meant to control these senses. If somehow we can manage to control these senses, we can turn our face to actual spiritual happiness and make our lives successful.
स निश्चयेन युक्तव्यो योगो निर्विण्ण चेतसा सङ्कल्पः प्रभवान् कामं त्यक्त्वा सर्वान् अशेषतः मनस्सर्वेन्द्रियग्रामं विनिमय समन्ततः शनैः बुद्ध्या दृढीकृतया आत्मसंस्थां मनः कृत्वा न किञ्चित् अपि चिन्तयेत् यतो यतो निश्चलयति मनश्चञ्चलम् आश्रितं ततस्ततो नियमयेताद् आत्मनि एव वशं नयेत्. One should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with undeviating determination and faith and not be deviated from the path. One should abandon without exception, all material desires born of mental speculation and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind. Gradually, step by step, with full conviction, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence, sustained by full conviction, and thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. From wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. The mind is always disturbed. It is going sometimes this way and sometimes that way. By yoga process, we literally drag the mind to Krishna consciousness. The mind strays from Krishna consciousness to so many exterior objects because from time immemorial, life after life, that has been our practice. Due to this, there may be difficulty in the beginning when one tries to fix his mind in Krishna consciousness, but these difficulties can all be overcome. Harishita Mataji.
It is because the mind is agitated and not fixed on Krishna that it goes from one thought to another. For instance, when we are engaged in work, memories of events that happened 10, 20, 30, or 40 years ago may suddenly come to our mind for no apparent reason. These thoughts come from our subconscious, and because they are always rising, the mind is always agitated. If we agitate a lake or a pond, all the mud from the bottom comes to the surface. Similarly, when the mind is agitated, so many thoughts arise from the subconscious so many thoughts arise from the subconscious that have been stored there over the years. If we do not disturb a pond, the mud will settle to the bottom. This yoga process is the means to quiet the mind and allow from being become agitated. If we follow the rules and regulations, gradually the mind will come under control. There are so many don'ts and so many do's, and if one is serious about training the mind, he has to follow them. He acts whimsically. What is the possibility of the mind being controlled? When the mind is finally trained to the point where it will think of nothing but Krishna, it will attain peace and will become very tranquil. Prasanta manasa hi ainam yogi nira sukham uttamam upaiti santa rajasa brahma bhutam kalpasam. The yogi whose mind is fixed on me, verily it attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus he is freed from all reactions to past deeds. Stated in Gita chapter 6, verse 27. The mind is always connecting objects for happiness. I am always thinking this will make me happy or that will make me happy. Happiness is here, happiness is there. In this way, the mind is taking us anywhere and everywhere. It is as though we are riding on a chariot behind an unbridled horse. We have no power over where we are going, but can only sit in horror and watch helplessly. As soon as the mind is engaged in the process of Krishna consciousness, specifically by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, then the wild horses of the mind will gradually come under our control. We must engage in Krishna's service every moment of our life in order to keep the restless and turbulent mind from dragging us from one object to other in a vain search for happiness in the temporary material world.
Thus, the self-controlled yogi Uh, Thus, the self-controlled yogi, constantly engaged in yoga practice, becomes free from all material contaminations and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service to the Lord. Krishna serves as a patron for one who is devoted to him. When one is in difficulty, his patron saves him. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is the real friend of all living entity, and we have to revive our friendship with him. The method for reviving this friendship is the process of Krishna consciousness. By practice of Krishna consciousness, mundane passionate hankering will come to a stop. This passionate hankering keeps us divorced from Krishna. Krishna is within us and is waiting for us to return to him. But we are too busy passionately eating the fruits of the trees of material desires. This passionate compulsion to enjoy these fruits must stop, and we must situate ourselves in our real identity as Brahman, pure spirit.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so now we'll hear the lecture of Srila Prabhupada, and then with Guru Vandana, we'll end the session.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam. Narad Muni advises through Srimad Bhagavatam says that you have got this human form of life. Now you have no necessity for finding out where is your food, where is your shelter, where is your sex satisfaction, where is your defense. This is not your... You should try for that thing. Means the thing which will give you relief from these material necessities of life. That is the advice. We are mistaken. We are, in this morning walk we saw that such a big nation, but the problem is food problem. Early in the morning at 6 o'clock they are going to work. They are going to work. Why? Now, for finding out the necessities of life. So what is this civilization? Early in the morning, 6 o'clock, according to Vedic civilization, one should rise early in the morning and chant Hare Krṣṇa, perform Mangalarati, worship the deity. This is the morning business. But the richest nation of the world, they are going to work at 6:30 for earning their bread. Is it very good progress of life? And the whole day they will have to work. Not only here, everywhere. For earning their daily bread, they have to go 50 miles, 100 miles away from home. And every city, in India also the same thing, in Bombay, they are coming 100 miles off and hanging in the daily passenger railway. Very serious condition. And it is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam that a human being at the end of the Kali Yuga will have to work. They are already working like an ass. And actually they will have to work like an ass simply to get their bread. The progress will be this. And not only that, the foodstuff, especially the sattvic foodstuff, like fruits, vegetables, milk, rice, wheat, sugar, these things will be not available. Completely stopped. So, gradually we shall make such advancement. I have seen practically, I went to Moscow, and at least for us, it was very difficult to live there. There is no rice supply, there is no wheat supply, very rarely, no vegetables, no fruits, some rotten fruits like raspberry. And so, at least for us it was very difficult. Of course, milk is available there. And flesh, that you can have as much as you like. So, that is not human life. Human life is here described. That Kaviraj Goswami, Mat sarva sapadam bhojo, radha madana mohano. Our only asset should be the lotus feet of Krṣṇa along with Radharani. Madan Mohan, Krṣṇa is so beautiful that he is more attractive than the Cupid, Madan Mohan. Madan means Cupid. Cupid is supposed to be the most beautiful person within the universe. Krishna is still more beautiful. Kandarpa koti kavaniya vishesha sobham. That is described in the Shastra. And when Krishna was present, we know from the Shastra, from the evidences, that Krishna was attractive to so many gopis. The gopis were the most beautiful women, and Krishna was attractive to them. So just imagine how much beautiful was Krishna. Not only to the gopis, there were 16,108 queens of Krishna. Therefore his name is Krishna. He is attractive to everyone. Jayatang Surito Panga Mamo. So why he should not be attractive to fallen souls like us? So that is the position of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Shri Guru चितते कुरिया क्या वरना गुरी हो गाने आशा श्री गुरु चराने ऐसे उत्तमागति ये प्रसाद पूरे सर्व आशा सुदान जन्म जन्म प्रभु से प्रकाशितो हेमावती जहाँ हृदय अविद्या विनाश जाते विदिकाय जार चरितो श्री गुरु करुणा बंधु लोकनाथ तिरंगा हा जय पदा जय प्रभु पदा प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु जय प्रभुपाद Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Okay, I'm sorry, that my was also needed. So we'll emphasize this. Answer type of question, so passing good behavior, Sati Panam, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.